Hey guys, it's Maddie. Over my time period of doing YouTube, I have had a lot of comments like, gonna get yourself a nice Asian boyfriend? Are you dating Korean guys? Do you like Korean guys? But I always kind of just ignored these comments because I didn't really want to make my private matter public business on YouTube. But now that I'm out of Korea, I thought I'd go ahead and tell you guys some good stories about actually dating in Korea. As a point of reference, I went to Korea while I was in a relationship. I was in a long distance relationship with someone I had met back here in the States, and we decided to try to make it work. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. We ended up breaking up a few months into my time in Korea. So what you gonna do? I wasn't super anxious to jump back into the dating scene, but then after a while I kind of got, you want to meet some people, you want to go talk to some people and, talk to some boys. So out of boredom, I ended up trying out a few dating apps. I managed to convince my friend Rachel to download Tinder with me just for fun, and she was kind of like an emotional support system. Spoiler alert, she ended up finding a husband on Tinder. It happened. However, I did find it kind of surprising to see the type of people I actually met. The majority, if you're a girl on Tinder in Korea, it's like 60% US military guys. I'd say like 20% guys who were teaching English, and the other 20% are Korean guys who speak little to moderate amount of English and are trying to pick up foreign girls. Tinder, as far as I am aware, is not a popular dating app for Korean people. I'm sure there are a lot of other Korean apps that they prefer to use. And yes, I did go on a few dates. I went into it with the intention of never really meeting with anyone in person, so it was just a lot of light conversation. I was kind of using it to practice my Korean mostly, and a lot of the guys were using it to practice their English, so it was kind of a good language exchange. The one thing that you see a lot of people warn you about is that if you are a foreign girl and you go to Korea, particularly a Caucasian white girl, there tends to be a lot of talk about Korean guys wanting to ride the white horse, so to speak. Yes, that is a real phrase that exists. I hope I don't have to explain it for you, but it's kind of a thing that you should be wary about. There are a lot of Korean guys on these apps like Tinder that are definitely just in it for the novelty of dating a white girl or any really foreign girl. They don't really take it too seriously, is what the majority of people will warn you about. So I went into it very cautious and wary of the type of people that I might be meeting. Tinder doesn't really have a great reputation for dating, but I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, you have to use your best judgment when you're on these sort of things, but the guys that I ended up meeting with, we'd go out to like lunch. I probably met only like a handful of guys over a mini-month period, and all except one of them I only met one time for lunch, and like that was it. We met up somewhere in public, had lunch, had conversation, and that was it, and never saw them again. But the thing that surprised me most is their kind of just attitude. They were like extremely respectful. They never even like tried to hold my hand or anything, so it was really different, I guess you could say. I'm very outgoing and confident, especially whenever I'm meeting people, so I think I actually intimidated a lot of the guys I ended up going on dates with, because for one thing, they're speaking in their second language that they're not 100% confident in the first place, and then I'm just like, kind of out there and crazy and confident and friendly, and I feel like that maybe is a little intimidating to some Korean guys. We'd have like good polite conversation over text and everything, but when we met in person, the cultural difference and personality difference was just like extremely apparent, and nothing ever really clicked, and I wasn't really looking to date anyway, so But the thing that I noticed is that the people whom I kind of clicked with more were people who had spent a long time in the States. One guy I had a few dates with Jae-sung. He had studied abroad in America and had lived there for a whole year, so he was very familiar with, American personality and the cultural differences that come from American people. So I felt very comfortable around him, and he didn't seem intimidated by my Americanness. And the only other person I ended up having a few dates with was my now still good friend Andrew, who grew up in the States and sounds American, and is what is considered a gyopo, which is Korean American. So his whole life he had traveled back and forth from the States to Korea, and he was just like pretty much an American. I was kind of surprised at myself for feeling like the culture difference was something that wasn't really okay with me. Like, I love Korean culture. I loved being part of the Korean culture when I was there in Korea, but at the same time, just the differences of expectation in a relationship, in how you treat one another and act towards one another, is just very, very different than the culture I've experienced in America. And I realized I don't do well in that Korean style dating, I guess, if that makes any sense. And I don't want to misrepresent what Korean dating culture is like, but it's hard to really explain. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you go to Korea with the mindset that you are going to get a Korean boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever have you, you have to be prepared for there to be cultural differences that are not the same, that are not what you are used to. For example, one small thing that I was warned about before I even got to Korea is that whenever you meet someone, like for a meeting or a date, if they like you, they will non-stop text you. They're like, "Hi, it was so nice meeting you today. What are you up to? What are your plans for this week?" Even if you're not planning on meeting again like the next day or for a few days, they will constantly text you just to let you know that they are interested. Whereas in American culture, it's kind of like, you got their number, you're gonna wait 1 or 2 days, don't want to seem too desperate, gotta play it cool. But in Korea, it's the exact opposite. So that, like, I knew about that and I kind of expected it, but at the same time, I couldn't help but feel a little weird whenever these guys were just like message, like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see you again, blah, 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 blah." It was just a little overwhelming, and I realized, like, this is a cultural difference that maybe just doesn't work for me. So yeah, you never know how you're gonna react until you're in the situation. Another thing on top of it all is, I know for myself personally, dating someone that I barely know, that I met through an app and have had conversation, just like, a tiny little conversation with, is not really what works for me. Everyone I've ever dated, I've known for a long time in like a friendly setting, and then eventually I've gotten to be like, "Man, I really like that person." And so then we start dating. But for me to just start dating a stranger that I barely even know, that was really out of my comfort zone. So this is just my experience. I'm not saying this is how it works out for everyone. Obviously, there are people who move to Korea and meet their future spouse. So this is definitely just my experience. In fact, my team leader was married to a Korean guy she met there. And on my second team, my coworker, teacher, she spoke fluent Korean and ended up marrying a Korean guy who didn't speak any English. So, I mean, it happens. It works for some people. It just wasn't working out for me. If you watched my Ireland vlog, you would have seen the debut of my boyfriend, Justin, whom actually, if you have been a long time watcher of my videos, you might recognize him as one of my co-workers from in Korea. He was on my first teaching staff as a co-teacher with me, and just over a long period of time, we decided we liked each other. And coincidentally, we're both from Texas, so it worked out. Well, I think that's it for this video. I hope you guys found it entertaining or insightful or whatever have you. If you're planning on going to Korea and meeting people, don't be afraid of the culture differences. Just be aware and be open-minded, because things are going to be different than what you're used to. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos and hear my crazy stories about living in Korea and see what I'm up to, my daily antics, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Mwah!